I never wanted to move to the suburbs. I'm a city guy, used to sirens, overpriced coffee, and people minding their own damn business. But after making partner at my firm and watching my fiancé threaten to turn into a lifetime movie character over a fixer-upper in quaint, quiet Oak Ridge Hollow, I gave in. She wanted white fences. I wanted peace. We compromised, we got both. Or so I thought. The house was perfect. Big enough to not feel boxed in, small enough to not scream compensation. The backyard was the real gym, secluded, shaded, and begging for a project. So naturally, within the first 2 months, I built myself a detached office back there. Soundproof, clean lines, fully permitted, and legal down to the last nail. And that's when I met her. Karen. Yes, her real name. No, I'm not making that up. She appeared on a Tuesday morning like a raccoon in daylight, out of place, twitchy, and way too aggressive. I had just finished my second Zoom deposition and stepped out for air when I spotted her standing at the edge of my property, arms crossed, peering at my office like it owed her money. "Excuse me," she called out, voice sharp and already laced with righteous entitlement. "What exactly is that structure?" I blinked. "My office." "Your office," she echoed like she was trying the words on for size and didn't like the fit. "And did you get approval from the HOA for this?" I had. In writing. Twice. But I was already learning that people like Karen don't actually care about the rules. They care about control. "Yes," I said. "Approved, signed, sealed, and even blessed by the great architectural committee of Oak Ridge Hollow." She narrowed her eyes. I wasn't notified. "Shocking," I deadpanned. "It's almost like the world doesn't revolve around you." That didn't go over well. She huffed and stormed off. I thought that would be the end of it. Spoiler, it wasn't. Over the next few weeks, I noticed things. Emails from the HOA began trickling in. Passive-aggressive notices about unauthorized construction and non-compliant exterior aesthetics. Each one read like it had been written by a legal intern who thought they were being clever. Poor kid. Then came the notices pinned to my door. Real, old-school intimidation tactics. One had the gall to say, "Remove the illegal structure or face fines." Illegal. I framed that one. Now, here's the thing. I'm not just some schmuck with a JD and a nice tie. I specialize in property law. Municipal codes, easements, HOA bylaws, you name it, I eat that for breakfast. Karen and her crew, they were swinging toothpicks at a tank. But I didn't retaliate. Not yet. See, I've learned something in court. People don't expect quiet men to be dangerous. They confuse calm with weakness. That's a mistake. It all escalated the day I came home from court and found my office gone. Not vandalized, not tagged. Gone. Demolished. Flattened. As if it had never existed. In its place was a polite little sign, staked into the dirt, that read, "Non-compliant structure removed per HOA directive. For questions, contact HOA President Karen L." She had signed it, like some kind of suburban Napoleon. I stood there for a good 5 minutes, briefcase in hand, trying to process the sheer audacity. And then, I laughed. Not because it was funny, it wasn't, but because I already knew exactly what was going to happen next. She had no idea who she was playing with. I wasn't angry. I want to make that clear. Rage is messy, impulsive. What I felt was something far colder. Focus. You don't burn a chessboard in the middle of the game. You wait until checkmate. So, I did what any reasonable man would do. I took a walk. Not to cool off, but to take stock. There were tire tracks in the soft dirt. A few boot prints near the edge of where my office used to stand. Debris stacked neatly along the side of the fence. Someone had been thorough. Too thorough. Karen didn't just file a complaint and wait. No, she orchestrated a full demolition without notice, without process, and, based on the paperwork I already had, without a single legal leg to stand on. So I went inside, made coffee, sat down at the kitchen table, and pulled out my files. Every permit, still valid. Every HOA form, approved, stamped, and dated. City approval? Check. Setback compliance? Check. HOA meeting minutes where no objections were raised? Checkmate. She'd overplayed her hand, wildly. The next day, I paid a visit to City Hall, just to pull the official record copies. Can't hurt to be thorough when you're about to bring a bureaucratic nuke to a neighborhood turf war. The clerk, a tired man who looked like he aged 5 years per budget cycle, skimmed the documents I brought in. "Everything's in order," he mumbled. "Why do you ask?" "My detached office was removed by my HOA without my consent," I said calmly. His pen stopped mid-stroke. "Wait, they what?" I just nodded. "Demolished. No notice. No legal justification. I'm filing suit." He looked up at me. I saw it then. The slow realization that a storm was coming, and he wanted no part of it. "Yikes," he whispered like a prayer. That evening, I called an emergency meeting with the HOA board. Not requested, called. I sent out formal letters, delivered in person, and cited the HOA bylaws they never bothered to read. In the event of a dispute concerning architectural compliance, the homeowner has the right to convene a hearing within 7 business days to review actions taken by the board or its agents. Most of them didn't even know that clause existed. I hosted the meeting in my living room. Karen arrived last, smug, clipboard in hand, like she was about to unveil a pyramid scheme. She didn't greet me, didn't look me in the eye, just strutted in like she was here to discipline a naughty child. The others, 5 of them, were visibly uncomfortable. Some offered tight smiles, others avoided eye contact altogether. Guilt is an awkward perfume. It sticks to you. I began with no fanfare, just facts. Laidlaw versus Willow Creek HOA, Parker versus Meridian Grove, Hayes versus Stonebridge. 3 cases, all involved wrongful demolition, all awarded substantial damages. Karen interrupted me. "This isn't court, Mr. Blake." I smiled politely. "You're right, it's worse. Because in court, you'd have due process. Here, you just bulldoze private property like a warlord in yoga pants." The air went still. Someone coughed. I continued. "Let's clarify the chain of failures here. First, I submitted plans. Second, you approved them. Third, I built legally. Fourth, you decided without notice, vote, or legal authority to destroy my property." "You're misrepresenting the facts," Karen snapped. "Oh," I said, pulling out the stamped plans. "Then please enlighten me. Which part of approved on April 3rd, signed by you, did I fabricate?" She blinked. For the first time, she hesitated. I went in for the kill. "Not only did you violate HOA bylaws, but you also committed property destruction, abuse of authority, and potentially trespassing, unless you'd like to disclose which licensed contractor you hired to do the dirty work. I assume they had permits?" Silence. That's the funny thing about power. People like Karen only know how to swing it. They never bother to learn how to defend it. After the meeting, 2 of the board members privately apologized. 1 offered to resign. I declined. This wasn't about apologies. It was about precedent. The next morning, I filed the lawsuit. HOA Board versus Michael Blake, multiple causes of action, 6 figures in damages, immediate injunction against any further enforcement action pending court review. Karen would get her summons by Monday. And I hadn't even started the public fallout yet. Oak Ridge Hollow is a strange beast. On the surface, it's all potlucks and porch swings, cul-de-sacs lined with pastel homes and residents who weaponize politeness like it's their second job. But underneath, it's a gossip minefield. A single rumor moves faster than broadband, and once it starts, you're not putting it back in the box, especially when the rumor includes illegal demolition, a lawsuit, and a woman named Karen who's apparently been collecting petty grievances like Pokemon cards since 2013. All I had to do was light the fuse. So, I called in a favor. I'd represented a local real estate agent, Denise, in a dispute last year, helped her bury an ugly zoning issue with a smile and a phone call. She owed me, and more importantly, she liked me. When I told her what happened, she didn't even pretend to be surprised. "Oh, God," she groaned. "Karen L.? She tried to have my open house shut down for excessive balloons." Sounds like her. She's hated every newcomer since 2009, thinks she's the HOA Pope. "I want it to spread," I said. "The truth, not exaggeration. Just what actually happened. You want her reputation done by Monday? Preferably by brunch. It started with whispers, a couple posts in the local Facebook group. Anyone know why that guy's office was taken down without a hearing? Word is the HOA didn't even vote. That's illegal, right? Then came the screenshots. Denise, bless her, leaked a few very real meeting minutes and emails. One in particular, sent from Karen to the board, was especially juicy. He's too smug. These types think they're above the rules. If the board won't take action, I will. That gem made the rounds like wildfire. By Sunday morning, my inbox was flooded with messages. Some residents offered quiet support. Others weren't so quiet. One guy, a retired Army colonel, said he was preparing a petition to have Karen removed from the board. His email subject line read, "Operation Dethrone the Tyrant." I didn't write back, just smiled. Because here's the thing about people like Karen. They build their power on perception, on fear, the image of control. Once that image cracks, it all comes crashing down. And the sound is beautiful. Monday morning came with gifts. First, Karen received her summons, served publicly on her front porch by a process server who I'm pretty sure enjoyed it way too much. Then she showed up to an emergency HOA meeting, called not by her, but by 3 other board members. I wasn't there, didn't need to be. The vote to suspend her authority passed 4-1. Guess who the one was? Then came the cherry on top. My assistant, Kelsey, bless her bloodthirsty little soul, uploaded a digital pure poetry. I finally saw Karen again later that week. She was out walking her schnauzer, wearing sunglasses even though it was cloudy. Classic Karen camouflage. She didn't look at me, didn't wave. Just stiffened like a statue and kept walking. I could have said something, could have rubbed it in. But what's the point of kicking a crumbling statue? Let her live in the echo of her own mistakes. That office she destroyed? I'd already submitted plans for a replacement. Bigger, more modern, same location, already approved by the city. But this time I had something special in mind, not just revenge, a legacy. The new office wasn't just construction. It was a statement, sleeker than the original. A mix of black cedar and steel accents, modern lines with a splash of brutalist edge. Subtle? No. Compliant? Painfully so. Every square inch was reviewed and blessed by the city inspector, who now greeted me like an old friend. It went up fast. 3 weeks, no delays. Karen naturally had to watch the entire thing unfold from across the hedge, like a dethroned monarch glaring at the castle she once claimed was hers. But the building wasn't the best part. No, that honor went to the plaque. Let me explain. I filed a claim with the HOA's liability insurance carrier, because yes, these little suburban juntas are usually covered. Between the lawsuit and the public blowback, their insurer settled quickly, quietly, generously. Mid-6 figures, including full replacement costs, damages, and a little extra for emotional distress. I wasn't emotional, but I didn't mind being paid like I was. I took a sliver of that settlement, less than 1%, and had a brass plaque custom-made, brushed metal, clean serif font, mounted right next to the entrance of the new office, screwed in so deep you'd need power tools and a goddamn permit to remove it. It read, "Rebuilt with love and legal fees, property demolished without cause by HOA President Karen L., 2025. Simple, elegant, devastating. The day it went up, the neighborhood practically held a watch party. I didn't organize it. That was Denise's idea. She brought wine. The retired colonel brought lawn chairs. A few kids chalked #JusticeForBlake on the sidewalk. Karen didn't come outside, but her curtains moved. What followed was a slow and surgical collapse. Karen tried to hold on to power, claimed she was the victim of character assassination. Didn't help that her own emails contradicted her. Didn't help that I had filed a second complaint, this time with the state's HOA Oversight Committee. Turns out, bulldozing someone's property without due process can lead to criminal charges. I didn't press for jail time. I wasn't looking for prison stripes, just public ruin. She stepped down from the HOA 2 weeks later. Claimed health reasons. Neighbors say she stopped answering her door. Her husband, whom I assume was either complicit or checked out, put the house up for sale within the month. Denise texted me a screenshot of the listing. Must sell, motivated seller, serious offers only. I replied with a single word: tragic. Now, every time I walk into that office, I see the plaque, not out of spite, out of satisfaction. Because that's the thing people like Karen never understand. You don't always need to raise your voice to win. Sometimes you just need to outlast, outmaneuver, and make damn sure the whole neighborhood remembers exactly who you are. And Karen, she'll never forget. There's a certain stillness you only feel when justice has had time to settle. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just quiet. Like the hum of a machine that runs exactly as it should. That's what my mornings feel like now. I step out into the backyard, coffee in hand. The sunlight cuts clean through the trees. My office, the new one, catches the light just right. You can see the plaque glint from the sidewalk if you squint. People do. And they remember. Karen's house finally sold last month. Below market. All cash deal. Buyer was a developer, so the rumor is it'll be torn down, subdivided, and turned into townhomes. Oh, the irony. She didn't say goodbye, didn't leave a note, just disappeared. Denise told me someone saw her at a local pharmacy a few towns over, arguing with a teenage cashier over the return policy on vitamins. Sounds about right. As for the HOA, well, after the dust settled, I was asked to join the board. Not joking. Apparently, when you dismantle a tyrant with a 3-ring binder and a few legal precedents, people assume you know what you're doing. I declined, of course. I told them I already had a job, one where I get to fight egos with rules and win with paperwork. But I agreed to consult when needed. Unpaid, unofficial, off the books. I like the image, the guy who lives on the corner with the legal mind and a calm smile. The one nobody wants to mess with twice. The weird thing is, I never really hated Karen. She didn't ruin my life. She tried, but she failed. What she did do was remind me that some people only understand strength when it's wrapped in silence and served cold. She thought this was a power struggle, that I was just another pushover with a mortgage and a schedule. What she didn't see, what people like her never see, is that calm isn't surrender. It's strategy. These days, I work in that same office she had torn down. Clients walk in, nod at the plaque, then at me. Some ask about it, others don't have to. It's become a story, a warning, a subtle monument to what happens when you mistake quiet for weak. Every now and then, when I'm sitting at my desk, papers in order, espresso in hand, I hear kids biking by, shouting to each other. They don't say Karen anymore, they say, "Don't mess with the lawyer." Good advice.